This is American fighter Chuck Norris.
This is WWE Hall of Famer, the hardcore legend Mick Foley.
NFL legend Steve Mariucci, and I don't start my day without coffee and cards.
Hey, what's up? It's your boy Ricky Williams, NFL legend and herbal connoisseur. And I don't ever start my day without coffee and cards.
Hosted by my buddies, the Bearded Grinch and Mike Blazin' Balliet.
What up, everybody? The only thing that would be more exciting than Jamie's face on the screen right now would be one of those Bernie little emoticon drops on here. What up, Jamie?
What's up? How's it going, guys?
Excited to have you, man.
Mike, hold on a second. There's somebody at my door.
Yeah, right.
Oh, my goodness. We couldn't start without at least addressing that. Who hasn't seen that yet? If you haven't, go look up There's Somebody at My Door and just sit back for a good laugh. One of the most ridiculous things I've seen forever.
We were begging for a new Cooks to 99 for how long? And we waited, and the wait was worth it, man. It was absolutely worth every day we waited for it.
And apparently there's another one out where some guy says like his pizza's ready in the oven upstairs. Like he has to go get his pizza out of the oven or something.
I mean, but here's my thing. I got to say this real quick. I have no sympathy for guys who get into breaks and don't either scout their breaker or know that they watch the breaker and they don't put the cards on screen. I'm sorry. If you were in the break, I have no sympathy for you. I mean, you deserve it.
Yeah, there's got to be something that goes into scouting it a little bit. But even worse, the guy that actually thinks that he can get away. I mean, is the card worth your reputation and that being the end of it? Like, it better be like a $20,000, $30,000 card if you're going to be ruining your reputation for the rest of your career on that.
Jamie, what you break a lot of different places, and I'm sure you do too, Chris. Jamie, what's the worst break you've ever been a part of besides mine? What's the worst break you've ever been a part of where something happened? You were like, I don't know if I can do this.
Oh, just where they just don't know how to open. They're just scattered. Don't even know who the players are half the time. Yeah, there's been a few of them. I don't know those groups anymore.
Not knowing the names is a great thing. Like when I started basketball, so I'm guilty of that too. But not knowing the names and you break it every day, eventually you got to learn how to do that.
Well, you can tell the people that are in it just for the dollar versus the people that enjoy the hobby because they're flipping through the cards as fast as they can. They're only showing the hits. They're not sleeving things up. They're tossing them in a pile on their desk. I mean, it's ridiculous. There's an art to it. Not everybody's cut out for it. I certainly couldn't do it. So I'm glad I have you to break with.
Well, I did get to see JT try it here. I mean, we've had a couple people break, besides our drunk break at the game, Chris, where people saw that as our first time. If we have to get that posted sometime, people have asked me to post that because you, Brandon, and myself were all hammered doing that. But we kind of put that disclaimer on the break, like we're going to be shit-faced drunk as we break this. So just understand that going into it. But no, we had to pull that up. But yeah, it's crazy that people get away with that kind of stuff. Real quick, before we go any further, I see there's a Facebook user on. I don't want to forget to say this. Chris, why don't you tell them how they can go ahead and get their names up on the screen?
Yeah, it should be at the top of the page for the listing. You just got to go on there and allow authorization for us to see it. Should be pretty simple. That's Ripley on there. So Scott, do that on your page. And just give us authorization so we can see who's talking to us and we can chat back and not just say Facebook user.
So we have someone from Scott's neck of the wood. Like, how far are you from Scott, Jamie?
I live probably about 3-4 miles from him now.
Oh, that's crazy. Have you guys hung out?
No. Well, we've met each other at the card shop a few times over the last year, but haven't hung out yet. Okay.
Is he as weird as he seems like online, or is he all right?
He is a goofball, yeah.
All right, cool.
Hold on, Grandma's calling. I'll be right back.
He's not. This is not. Someone's at my door. I got to give a shout out to Jamie real quick. Jamie recently moved in with his grandmother to help take care of her and to be with his grandmother. Jamie's just this awesome dude, part of our group. You all know Hitman, obviously, that's listening. If you don't, but Jamie's the man, and so if he says that grandma's calling, it's not. He's not stealing cards. I promise.
Oh, she finished her second box of sorting Bowman. So.
Shit.
So Jamie, tell everybody what Grandma's doing.
This is a long-term plan from Jamie to get her to sort cards. He just had to slowly implement it. It was a
well, Grandma's always one that's got me into cards, and always start with Easter basket. Growing up, I'd get a Beckett and some cards from Costco, and then she'd be up sorting at night, put them in sleeves, the full set type of deal. And then actually, she took me to the card shop when I was like 9, and I bought this card. The Trail Spreewell.
Oh, it's the trail.
Yeah. So and then I've been
next rookie year too.
Yes. Yeah. And then so I've been into cards kind of my whole life, and then found breaking. Just the first of the year, went to an XFL game, ran into a buddy, and he was telling me about it, and then we started a group about 3 weeks later, and then we've been breaking since. So yeah, that's kind of my background story of cards. And now Grandma's sorting my Bowman base and rookies downstairs. She's gone
So
through.
Grandma got you in the cards, and now it's
comfortable. Well, she plays solitaire all the time, so I figured give her something else to do with cards and the same kind of thing, and she's loving it.
That's really cool.
That's funny. Yeah. Please tell me you at least get her some pudding and stuff when she's done.
Oh, I make her dinner every night.
Perfect. That's awesome. Yeah, we've all gone down that road. For those of you who might be new to the podcast too, if you go through our archives on our webpage at coffeeandcards.com, one of our first shows, it was our first show. Mike and I talked about how we kind of got into it. Really good episode just to kind of give you a background on how we got here. So super excited to have Jamie on. So let's cut to it. A lot going on in the news. The latest, I guess, hot off the presses, it looks like Matthew Stafford agreeing to part ways with the Detroit Lions. What does that mean? What does that future look like there for Detroit and for Stafford? What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Jamie. What do you think?
No, I don't know. I don't know who's going to trade for him, but who are they? What's their draft pick? Whether it's like third, fourth this year, fifth? I mean,
they're up there.
Draft Fields, or I guess Garoppolo's out there too.
So I watched the interview the day after the coach. What's the name of the coach that they hired? Y'all remember?
I just know he wants to eat kneecaps.
Yeah, so he's a former player. It's the fifth former player the Lions have hired as head coach in their history. And I watched him on Good Morning Football on the NFL Network the day after he went through his rant about biting kneecaps and all that. And so, of course, they obviously asked the question. They were very cool the way they asked it. Did you plan that? Did you write it out? He goes, I'm not a guy that plans that kind of stuff out. I'm like, no shit. If anyone read that, there was no way they approved you talking about biting ankles and letting them get down and getting up and biting their kneecaps. But he did say that the final question they landed on was obviously Stafford is a one of those pieces that you is at the head of your team. What are your thoughts on him moving forward? And he instantly got uncomfortable. He was comfortable the whole time. They were making jokes about him being like the dude, and stuff. And immediately he kind of I'm not really comfortable talking about that. I'm not really in a position to talk. I'm sitting down with the GM and everything on this weekend, and we're going to talk about that, but everything's up in the air. And when I heard that, I was like, Stafford's gone. That was the telltale sign that you don't leave that much up in the air as a new coach unless it's a definite no, he's not coming back. So the real question becomes is who's going to Detroit then other than Stafford? I mean, Stafford has a lot of landing places. Who's Detroit going after though? Do you think they're trying to draft that quarterback?
I think Detroit's drafting a quarterback. I think they pick up a veteran to come in and play that secondary role or that mentor. I see Deshaun Watson going to the Jets, and I see Matthew Stafford going to Houston.
And you see Deshaun to the Jets.
He just came out and said that he prefers the Jets over Miami.
So who ends up in San Francisco then is the question.
That is a good question. Chris Morris, he says Stafford to the Colts. Good fit for him. Probably not wrong there.
I thought Wentz was going to the Colts.
Is Wentz going anywhere though? I mean,
I'll say this, because we're doing all this speculating, but can we just land on this idea? Can we all agree on this? This is going to be the craziest year in quarterback movement we've ever seen, where guys big name guys, every now and then there's, but when we got Garoppolo that might go to New England, we got Watson that was on no trade clause that might go somewhere. We got Wentz who just got his coach fired for not getting, everything that went on there. And he didn't do it intentionally, but there was disagreement on the idea of where Hurts is going to play or Wentz is going to play. I mean, we got Stafford who just got a new coach, but has isn't Stafford on $100 million contract?
It's big.
I mean, we got all these big numbers coming out. We got Trubisky who might land somewhere. You don't know. I mean, there's guys he's going somewhere. There's all these quarterback names up in the air. I just think the league is going to look much differently next year at the quarterback position.
So here's an idea. Pete sent in Garoppolo to Detroit. That would be a good scenario if they draft a young quarterback. Garoppolo there in Detroit. Then you also have Cam Newton. Is he going to end up somewhere, and where does he go?
Yeah, I mean, you start to look at these stationary quarterbacks like Mahomes, Rodgers. I mean, because like I think Breeze is on his way out. Rivers is obviously on his way out. I mean, I think if Brady stays, he's definitely staying with the Bucks. Obviously, he's not going to go to another team. And then you have like Allen staying. But everything, like a lot of these other guys, they're up in the air. I mean, you even like Dak could go somewhere. Dak has not signed yet, right?
Right.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Dak is not signed. And if it were me, unless they're going to offer me more than what I wanted the last time, they've played all their cards. Like that's the crazy situation. I think Dallas is more against the wall than Dak is. Dak could come back and sign with anyone for the price Dallas was willing to pay him.
So which one of them goes to New England?
Exactly.
It's just crazy. Does Garoppolo go back and Dak goes out to San Fran? Like I get back to the point where this is going to be the most exciting offseason we have ever seen, I think.
Someone just said Stafford to New England because Patricia just signed there.
Oh, that makes sense too. And they did have a good relation. Stafford and Patricia had a good relationship from everything I read.
Yeah, that's Pete Nico.
Is Pete Nico on? He said that Stafford.
Yeah. The other thing too, I got to take a second and give Roger his shine. This is like his fourth comment about Dan Marino. So Roger, Marino's
Roger McGowan does not think Marino is the greatest of all time.
Can we just have everyone comment in the thread on your rank of greatest quarterbacks of all time? Just type the number where Marino lands on your list. And if it's double digits, that's okay. We understand. That's not uncommon for you to feel that way. But here, I'll say this real quick as it relates to cards. Where are the opportunities to buy some of these guys that maybe have been stagnant or haven't moved? Like Garoppolo, he didn't do much in San Fran with that offense, or Newton didn't do much in New England. Are there guys we could be buying now in the offseason before they sign? Because it's going to happen fast, I think. Dominoes are going to start to fall soon.
Watson, and more Watson. I think he's already undervalued. I think his Prism rookie cards, PSA, I would jump all over him if you get an opportunity to get one. That's a surefire bet, in my opinion. He balled out this year with a very mediocre team.
I mean, I'm not so sure he's not like like Mahomes and then Watson. Like, I don't think it's like Mahomes, Watson. I think it's like side by side and a little level down because he can move better than Mahomes. He can throw a really good deep ball. He maybe doesn't have the no-look pass, but he has never, ever had the talent that Mahomes has had.
Absolutely agree with that.
Let's ask this question then, and this is going to be a debate. You can go back and forth, but I love these. Role reversal. Put Mahomes this past season in Houston, put Deshaun in Kansas City. All the weapons stay the same.
I think Houston's still
almost maybe a game difference.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're right.
Ooh, Biscuit to the Niners. That's another one that got thrown out there. I don't know. It's going to be crazy. There's 6 profiles, starting quarterbacks that are up, and we haven't even scratched the surface with wide receivers yet. There are a handful of high caliber wide receiver ones that are going to be out there. Julio Jones and Allen Robinson and Goodwin. I mean, there are some high profile players that are going to be moving and having new homes this season. It's going to be really awesome.
Well, do either of you follow college football pretty well?
A little bit. I turn it on.
So how many, this year we had 3-4 stud quarterbacks come in. The year before, obviously in 2018 and 19, we had 3 to 5. I mean, 18 was a huge year. How many are coming in the league next year that you're going to be excited to collect as a collector?
4 to 5.
Yeah. I mean, the top names, really. I mean, other than that, it's a crapshoot. I mean, we're not going to see them at the combine either, so we don't really know who's coming in.
So the only reason I bring that up is this the year where maybe we start to go back and revert back like basketball does a little bit and start to pick quarterbacks that have been in the year for 3, 4, 5 years that start to get picked up. I mean, we saw Mariota in one game this year, right? And Mariota did not look bad. Is he a guy that gets put on a team maybe like the Bears that are looking for a quarterback? Like does Mariota go somewhere? Is he a guy we can look at? Jameis Winston came in. Granted, that play was a beautiful play, but he showed off his accuracy and arm even on an open receiver. He can do it. Jameis Winston's still out there. Does 2015 class start to look good again a little bit?
It's going to be interesting because there are a legit 4 to 5 kind of question marks. I mean, you've got Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. Obviously, they're going to make their mark there. And then you've got, if you look at Florida or Trey Lance coming out of where's he at? North Dakota State. And then you've got the quarterback out there at BYU who's going to probably be the third pickup. That might be somebody that Detroit ends up looking at, Zach Wilson. So there's definitely some opportunities out there.
I do want to comment on two of our users' comments. I think this is Scott. I'm not sure. I don't want Watson in the NFC West. No, thanks. Yeah, when they talked about Miami, I got scared. When they talked about Jets, I got just as scared. I do not want one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league to come to our division because he's better. I'm sorry, but right now, I would probably still take Watson over Allen. And I love Allen, don't get me wrong, but I think Watson is as good of a talent as Allen. What do you guys think?
Yeah, as much as a homer as I am on Lamar, I mean, I would take Watson in a heartbeat.
I mean, he's that good. He's never even had a chance. And the other thing someone said is, Shane said, I think Washington needs to go after a QB. And that popped up as I was talking about Jameis. Man, wouldn't it be cool to see Jameis in Washington? I mean, they got receivers that have speed out there. That'd be interesting to see that out there. Jameis has an arm on him. He doesn't mind flinging that ball.
He does. I think he's going to stay with New Orleans. I really do, because I don't think, with Drew Brees more than likely being done out there, they've already got him in the system for a year. I don't think they're going to get rid of him that quickly. I think they'll give him an opportunity to kind of shine there. So we'll see. It'd be interesting.
Who's your favorite QB to watch in the league outside of your own quarterback, Jamie?
Well, my quarterback's not my favorite to watch by any means. He's frustrating. But probably Watson. Watson's fun to watch. I mean, and of course Kyler Murray. But I'm hoping he's turns it around this next year. He got beat up this year.
Chris, outside of Lamar, who's your favorite quarterback to watch?
You're going to see two of them play this weekend, Mahomes and I hate to say it, but Aaron Rodgers. Watching him play the sport, you can't argue it though.
Everyone's like tiptoes around him. I don't want to say Aaron Rodgers. Listen,
you can't argue he's fun to watch.
I changed my stance from not sharing my fries to Aaron Rodgers to letting him. I'd let him take the salt and pepper off the table after he gave $500,000 to the small business thing that Barstool Sports is doing. He's all right in my book. I'm not gonna trip him as he walks by anymore.
And listen, Josh Allen's one of those guys that's doing it too, because I like the unassuming guys. Like, you look at Josh Allen and his build and the way that he comes into the game, and you wouldn't expect him to break off a 40-yarder, and the guy can do it. So somebody like that can be a threat at any time to make something happen. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm excited, and not only just for the sport, but what it's gonna do to the hobby with the movement. Whenever there's movement like that, the hobby gets a little spark in it a little bit too.
So we're dancing around it. Let's just cut to it. We don't need predictions. We don't need to get in-depth analysis, but we can't skim over the fact that we do have two really big games tomorrow. First one starting off, Tampa Bay going up to the frozen tundra there in Green Bay. Brady versus Aaron Rodgers. What are your guys' thoughts on that game?
Go ahead, Jamie.
Well, personally, I don't like either team. I hate Brady. Rodgers is a close second. So I just want a good game. I honestly think Green Bay is going to win it because of weather and Antonio Brown being out. And so for that game, and then I'm rooting for the Bills. It's going to be a tough one, but I think the Chiefs are going to pull it out by a nail biter.
Yeah, I think we could see some really high-scoring games this weekend. I think, Green Bay can get out really quick. They're used to playing in that weather. The only two players on Tampa's team that are used to playing in that environment are Gronk and Brady. And so you're going to have a little bit of a struggle. They're going to be playing from behind most of the games, so they're going to be passing the ball a lot. And then on the flip side, Kansas City's defense has been playing a little bit better, but I think this is going to be two offenses that are going to go out there and just go touchdown for touchdown. And I hope to see high-scoring games at least just to make it exciting. And for my boy Mikey, I'm pulling for the Bills. I hope they can do it. I love Mahomes. I like to see new people win. So I never want to see the same teams win over and over again unless it's the Ravens. And since it's probably not going to be the Ravens for a long time, let's let someone new come in there.
Well, I'm going to say this about someone just commented, dude, is Brady going to break Mike's heart again? So listen, the only way Brady breaks my heart is if he doesn't win this week. For the first time, I need Brady to win, not only for the fact that I want him to beat Rodgers, but I have a large bet that I put on my brother after the Bills game on Saturday night. We were talking on the phone. I was like, dude, the NFC South is winning the conference. It's as simple as that. It's either the Saints or the Bucks. And as I went on talking to him, I'm running my mouth a little bit. I don't normally run my mouth a whole lot, but I just decided to do it that night. That's a joke, by the way. So I was like, the Bucks are going to win. So I put in my drunken, stupor of the Bills winning, I put in massive bet, the biggest one I've ever put on in my life, on the Bucks winning not only that night against the Saints the next night, but also beating the winner or the Packers, because we knew it was the Packers at the point. So the only way Brady breaks my heart now is if he doesn't win tomorrow. But everyone's like, oh, Brady's got to go to the frozen tundra and he's got to play in the cold against Rodgers. But what's cold weather to a man that has ice in his veins?
No, I think Brady's fine, and I'm worried about the rest of the team mainly. And it's just Lambeau.
You mentioned Antonio Brown. That was a dagger in my mind. It was like, man, I had like big high hopes for Antonio Brown in that game.
Yeah, well, there's something else riding on this game, or is it not riding on this game? Mike, let's shift gears a little bit because I want to hear about Tattoo Gate 2021.
So here's the thing. We have some people listening. If you're listening, this is an open invitation. So at the beginning of the year, I went and said, hey, if I have no faith in Rodgers, even though I drafted him in 3 fantasy leagues, he's going to be an awful quarterback this year. There's no way he's MVP. He sucks. I hate Rodgers. If Rodgers wins the Super Bowl, I'll get a tattoo of Justin Bieber on me. And I'm going to stand by. It wasn't a bet. It was just, I threw it out there as kind of a I hate Rodgers kind of challenge. But I'm challenging any of my Packers guys out there. I'm going to take the best offer I get. And I'm willing to, I'm going to keep my side. But if you have something you want to throw on the line that if the Bills win the Super Bowl, we would love to have you on the show. But it's got to come in before tomorrow game time, before 3. So if you're listening to this, I'll post something on, or Chris, if you want to post something on the page. We're looking for someone that would love to throw up a wager against it for the games tomorrow. And the best one that comes in is we'd love to post as like our headlining feature for the games tomorrow. I think it would be really cool for both Blazing Breaks and for Coffee and Cards to have this headlining little challenge. We can call it a bet. If for some reason the Bills or the Packers don't win, it's null and void. We can both hide in our corner and be sad neither of our teams won. But if you're willing to step up to the plate, I would love a counter proposal, because as much anxiety as I have behind that Packers game, if that happens, I would like to have someone on the other side of me to kind of be chatting with during that. So, I mean, Jamie and Chris, the floor is open. Anyone stepping up between you two?
Nope, because I'm rooting for the same teams as you.
I'm with you.
I've got your back on this one. I'm pulling for the Bills the whole time. But let's open invitation, guys. Mike has laid down the gauntlet. He's willing to get ink on his body, so nothing is off the table.
My wife asked me tonight. As we were out, she asked me about the game. So she goes, "Oh, that's right. You have to get a Justin Bieber tattoo if the Packers win, don't you?" So she's on board. She knows the deal. I've been talking about it sporadically through the season. So she knows that I'm a little bit anxious about that game. And then I put money on it to make it even more exciting for me. So I'm almost as excited for that Bucks-Packers game tomorrow as I am the Bills game. I'm not going to lie. There is as much riding on that game for me tomorrow.
Part of me just has to think, though, Brady just seems like that guy that just will not go down. You can beat him and beat him and beat him, and he's just going to get up every time. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes up there and pulls an upset somehow, some way. I
don't get the line. What is it? The line 7? Did I hear?
I think so. Yeah.
It was 3. I thought.
Is it for the?
Did it shift after Brown went out?
It could have. I mean, I in my head that was a big factor of it, and I will check it out here. But either way, man, it is surprising to me. The Bucks on paper to me look so much better. But I mean, their season Aaron Rodgers having, you can't discount it. My take on the game, honestly, and I'm not going to talk too much about the Bills game, but my take on that Bucks game is the Bucks are going to get after Rodgers. I mean, I'm not predicting Rodgers to have a game like Allen did against the Chiefs. And if you look at it, Rodgers had a comparable game in that massive loss to the Bucks as Allen did against that loss to the Chiefs. They both had under 200 yards, a really crappy game on steroids, untypical of their performance. So it's kind of interesting that these rematches are coming and they've already played, and yet it's kind of like the lines are very different from the game before.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So if you had to throw out there one prediction, not game winner prediction, just one game time prediction, what is your out of the box prediction? For me, it's going to be, I think Gronk's going to have a breakout game. Watch for him to have the game of the year for him on Sunday.
What do you think, Jamie?
I believe Aaron Jones is going to pop off and keep that game a lot closer than it should be.
So Chris, I'm with you because I was listening to the radio and it was, oh my goodness, I forget who it was now, but had Gronk with 5 receptions, 88 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And I was like, whoa, where did that come from? But he was like guaranteeing it. Anybody can do that. But I have my eye on Gronk this week, and I'm hoping he has that kind of game. I'm definitely rooting for. I love me some Gronk. He's already said he wants to come back next year. What a return announcement if you score like that in the NFC Championship.
Yeah, we've got a couple of guys chiming in. Alan thinks that it's going to be Rodgers dumping and passing. He agrees with you. Jamie Jones up the middle. Roger thinks that it's going to be the Fournette factor coming in. Maybe you're right. Who knows?
Who's our Facebook user that I'd love to know who this is that has a Gronk collection? That's the only guy I've ever talked to that has a Gronk collection.
Travis Kelce with 3 touchdowns. I'm not sure we're going to see that happen.
I did hear that that's the concern, is that there's no one on the Bucks like the middle that can contain Kelce, and that's the big as far as for the Bills, because if you look back to that game, Edmonds was hurt that game and Milano was out that game, but Kelce didn't really do much. If you remember, there wasn't a whole lot that happened in that game. It was all run. So we haven't seen what the Chiefs can do against us in the past. So Kelce scares me more than anyone else on the Chiefs, really.
Yeah, it's Matt Nickel with the Gronk collection. There you go. That makes sense.
The old Pats. He has a Pats Gronk collection. That's right.
Nice. So one more big event happening this weekend. This has got me excited because my team got bounced in an ugly loss last weekend. But Conor McGregor stepping back in the octagon. He spent all of 42 seconds in the octagon last year. First time stepping in, rematch against Dustin Poirier going on tonight. Anybody out there watching the fight are as excited as I am. I can't wait. I think McGregor's going to knock him out within 3 rounds. It's going to happen. But for those that are UFC fans, it's going to be an exciting lineup, and that fight is just going to be bonkers.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. I can't wait. I love McGregor fights. It's always exciting. Seems a little more calm and less shit talking this time around. He's all business.
Well, when you have 500 million sitting in the bank, you can go one of 2 ways. You can either get more arrogant or you can get more grounded. But he's one of those people that he's now got 2 kids. He's got a young son and a young daughter. I think he has gotten a little bit more grounded and, is enjoying the sport for what it is. And this is the type of fighter that he is. And what I love about it, he was interviewed and he was predicting a first round knockout. And they were like, do you think that little of your opponent? He's like, no, I just think that highly of my training and my conditioning and what I've done to get to this point. So he's not arrogant in the sense that he thinks he's better. He just knows what he's done to get himself to that point.
You have to wonder a little bit, though. I always ask this about athletes, for example, Jerry Hughes used to have this chip on his shoulder for the Bills. He used to always get penalties, and he used to always have this like killer lion attitude. And when it went away, he just lost some of his pizzazz. I don't know if it was age or what. Does Conor lose that when he doesn't do his shit talking, when he doesn't do it? Does he lose that edge? Is that something that athletes really, I've always seen it that way. As much as I hate some of these arrogant, cocky athletes, sometimes it seems to be that killer angle that gives them their skill.
So I'll tell you this, I've seen it 2 ways, not to go down the history and the path of Conor McGregor and show my fandom. My wife was making fun of me today saying I was a fanboy of his because I was just talking about him all day long. But so he fought Nate Diaz twice. In the first fight, he lost by submission, and he was that arrogant, cocky guy coming in. In the second fight, he had a much more focused camp, came in, was really unassuming, and just went out and absolutely punished Nate Diaz. So I think he's one of those fighters that his fight game can speak for itself. I think the hype and the talk is because he's a showman. He's the Ric Flair of the UFC. He knows how to get pay-per-view buys. He knows how to make the money. He knows how to get people to watch.
Well, do you think this is all set up for him to transition into the WWE since someone asked it?
That'd be interesting. I just don't. So the only people that are his size in a WWE format are your luchador, Hispanic wrestlers that wear the masks and things like that. Going in there, he might be a hype man or something. But can you imagine him at 5'9", 5'10", 170 pounds, standing next to a Dwayne Johnson who's 6'6", 275 pounds? I mean, I don't know if he fits.
Yeah, to me, that's the only reason you would go into that is either a massive signing bonus or another step into like what are the big athletes do in the WWE is the acting contracts. It seems like so many of those WWE studs, Cena and The Rock and so many others along the way, even Stone Cold, went into some acting. That might be the stepping stone, it seems to be, for a lot of those WWE. But I could see them paying him a massive contract just to come in, like you said, and be a hype man.
Yeah, that could work for him. He's also got his whiskey brand going off, his proper number 12 whiskey. So he's got money coming in from that. But it'll be interesting. I'm excited for it. So I'm watching it. If anybody's up and wants to talk smack about it tonight, I'll be around for that for sure.
Chris, how many bottles of proper 12 do you have in your house?
I've never bought one. I don't like whiskey.
But would you drink it if it was Conor McGregor's whiskey?
I would drink it with Conor McGregor. That might be the only time.
Fair enough.
So before we move on, we are coffee and cards, so we definitely want to talk on the card front. But we might have to end up having Jamie come on a little bit more often. Apparently, he's already got some fanboys out there. Somebody's saying that he's just here for the Hitman. So that's Nick D. So shout out to Nick D.
Nick D.
That's funny. So Mike, cards. It's crazy right now.
I don't even know mentally at times.
Tell me about it. What's going on? You are like neck deep in it, day in and day out. A lot of people don't see that side of the business. Like, what's going on?
I mean, for me, there's just so many different angles from a breaker standpoint, and I'd say there's guys that have been in this since long before I have. I've been collecting cards from like when Peyton Manning was a rookie, even before that, in the early 90s. But I was heavy in the football cards in the late 90s and early 2000s. Not enough, apparently, because I only have a couple Brady's. But I got back into it a few years ago in like 2017, 18. But there's guys who have been doing this breaking thing since the 13, 14, and it got really big in 15 and then blew up in like 18, 19, and obviously now at a record level. But there are guys that have, and the way it works necessarily is that people have been around a while. They get allocated product at cost, but because it's so popular, those numbers dwindle, and less people get that product at cost. Panini likes to put a number out there and say, hey, the cost of this product should be, say, for example, $170, and they'll market that, and you can see that MSRP for $170 for Contenders. Yet they'll sell it on their site for $700. If we see a video game for $60 and we walk into Walmart and it's $190, we would smack the employees at Walmart and be like, dude, your price tag's wrong. Like, fix this. But, Panini does it, and it's like acceptable that they say this is the selling price. We're going to sell it up here, and that's a new thing this year. And all the year, my third year in breaking, that's the first I've ever seen that happen. But unfortunately, anytime something's popular, everyone wants to get in on it and everyone wants a piece of it. And it's fun because it does bring up the value of cards. It brings up the excitement of cards. And we're all more excited. Our card collections have risen to astronomical levels. If you collected prior to this year, or even if you start collecting, you've gotten cards that have been worth more money than you ever thought a piece of paper could be worth. And there is excitement to that. That is exciting. And I do like that aspect of it. But along with that comes some of the negative sides of it, is that we have to pay $700 for a box of cards. And what we want to kind of get into on this segment is talking about how that correlates, how the price of sealed wax, and I always refer to wax, and when I say wax, I'm talking about sealed cards, correlates with the price of singles or the resale of cards. And so I had asked Chris and Jamie earlier that when we kind of prepped for this, if we could go back and look at when, specifically since Contenders came out this week, which I think Contenders is a really nice card. I do. But the difference in Contenders with more of the popular products now is it doesn't offer a lot of parallels. So you're getting 5 autographs, 1 parallel per box. So in a lot of other sets, you can kind of recoup money in a box between parallels and stuff. But regardless, I said, Chris and Jamie, go back and look at 18 and 19 and then 20 and compare the prices of the boxes to what the quarterbacks that year sold for out of it, whether it be a rookie ticket on card, a cracked ice, or whatever. So, Chris, tell us a little bit what you found out when you did some of that research.
Yeah, so some of this is going to be a little bit skewed because you can only go back so far as far as the history on cards, whether it be through cards, Snoops, or eBay sales or anything. But from what I've been able to see, when the product initially broke, the hottest players at the time, 2018 Contenders was Baker Mayfield, 2019 Contenders was Kyler Murray. Their cracked ice cards were selling in the range the first month to 3 months post-launch of the product between $3,000 and $5,000 per card. That's ungraded in the raw version. Up to date right now, there has not been any of the cracked dice from a Justin Herbert sold, although the starting price right now is $15,000, and we've seen some of like the rookie tickets and things already exceed that $3,000 to $5,000 mark on something that's not even a cracked dice. So you are definitely seeing higher return on investment for those players in this 2020 class right now, particularly Herbert and Burrow. But I don't know if it's high enough to correlate to the jump in price from a $200 box of cards to a $750 box of cards.
And I have a point. I want to speak on that, but I want to know why you feel that way.
So, I mean, for me personally, if you look at a product like Contenders, if you're purchasing at $750 a box, there's one hit out of that box that's going to be your opportunity to make money. And if you look at that, there may be 5 players, unless you get a 1-on-1. There's probably 5-6 players that you could get your money back or more from. So your odds of making your money back on an individual box are slim and none. Even going into a break, I think that's where you have a better opportunity is, you've got lower cost per team, multiple boxes being opened, greater chance to get something at least for your investment. But for me, that's what it is. Like I look at the hit ratio and your opportunity to make money back based on the hits. And in a product like Contenders, it's just not there versus, like we'll talk later, a product like Optic or a product like Select, where a lot of the parallels can get you value.
Okay, Jamie, you want to chime in a little bit about your feelings about maybe specifically Contenders, but more importantly, the price of wax compared to resale?
Well, I mean, I just got into breaks the last year or whatever, and Contenders was what, 300 at the most last year, beginning of the year when it dropped. And I was getting into breaks. You would have like 4 or 5 box mixers and Contenders would be in there or whatnot. And it seems like I would get more value for my dollar, and stuff was still selling at the same price. So I don't really understand why the price has gone up so much besides of just popularity and demand. Like I like Contenders. This year I'm just I've been in one random and it's not really exciting. I mean, all the crappier teams and lesser players seem to hit a lot. It's fun in that aspect, but I just don't think it's worth the bang for the buck for just trying to hunt Herbert or Burrow and, those 5 players to pay off for your card or hopefully get a cracked ice.
I think Jamie nailed it right there. Is that like he would like it does hit the lower teams, which in a way makes it oddly fun because when you get into these other products, it hits the bigger teams almost always. And we've opened a case and 4 boxes already, 3 or 4 boxes, and we've hit a lot of Texans, a lot of Panthers, a lot of Falcons, a lot of Saints. Like teams that you just typically don't see. So I like that, and I was telling Chris like it works as a random because at $20 a spot, there are 5 guys going to get cards guaranteed to get your money back or more. But that's it. Then after that, it ends because there's one parallel that maybe, strikes the nerve with someone. But after that, what do you get? Like a 2 rookie Contenders that you get out of a blaster or whatever. So I do get that from that aspect. I'm not really understanding why it's gone up that much, except for the fact is that everyone's paying for that lottery ticket of that $8,000 to $10,000 to $15,000 to $20,000 card, where you've never had that historically in a card. Like Chris, you pulled out a Baker 101 out of a Flawless in 2018. You were happy to get $5,000 for that, or in that range. I don't remember exactly. I mean, that card now comparatively would be $20,000 to $25,000.
No, if that was a Herbert all day long, yeah.
Exactly. So I think the only thing that makes sense, and it does, is that, like Jamie said, supply and demand is obviously going to raise the price naturally. But the thing that sucks about it, and it really does, is that it doesn't necessarily increase the price of a DeAndre Swift. It does, but it doesn't match the price of the box to like what you said earlier, Chris. But my question to you guys is, what fixes that? So we talked a little bit before we went live, and we said, would you guys rather have it this way? And I think that's why so many people are running randoms for that wild card shot at a big card. Would you rather have it this way where your cards maintain value, or have the market reset and all these cards we've spent all this money on kind of dwindle down to where our cards are? Because it would be a kind of a domino effect. It's not just like price is going to collapse and your cards are still worth money. If prices collapse, your Herbert that was $8,000 is now probably worth 25 to 3. I mean, how do you feel like that would affect the market if that happened?
So they say buying cards is kind of like the stock market, right? So your investments go up and down and cyclical. So think of it from a stock market perspective. If you buy into a company like Apple, you're going to have to wait for the down cycle in order to get in. and then you can buy in, and then your value can shoot up. But they're already at a premium cost, right? They're one of the higher priced commodities you can go after. So, like, when I think of that correlating to cards, is like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't have the value of your cards continue to stay as high as they are, and the prices of boxes drop, because it's going to correlate as the price of the boxes drops back down. I think these crazy values are going to start to drop back down as well. The reason why some of these cards are so much more valuable now is look at a box of 2017 contenders or 2018 contenders, how expensive it is right now to buy that in order to hit your Mahomes or your Baker or your Allen or your Lamar. I mean, it goes hand in hand. You can't have both. You can't,
right? Because you're paying $2,000 for a box of 18. We want to joke around and talk about how, oh well, 8 and 18, we're not joke around, but we want to connect it to the 2018. It was only $180 or $200 a box. That's fine and dandy, but it's no longer that price. It's $2,000 for a box of that now to hit that. So it all is, like you just said, relative. But I want to comment real quick on what's on the screen here, and it's $700 for a box of 5 autos and pull $75 worth of cards. That's ass backwards. Well, they're not all 75, because we have pulled now 2 cards worth thousands. You know, one worth 8,000 and the Burrow tonight is probably worth 5,000 to 6,000 that we pulled earlier today. So out of all those breaks, we've pulled anywhere between $8,000 to $13,000 worth of cards in those 2 cards. So you can't just say, "Oh, that was a shitty box. You pulled 70." That does happen, but that's part.
Oh, we lost Mike. He's gotten so excited he's overheating his computer, I think. So while he's down and out, let's. I want to give a big shout out. Apparently, for those that don't realize Oh, there. Hold on a sec, Mike. We'll get you back in here in a second. But for those that don't realize how big coffee and cards are, everybody welcome Matt Nagy, head coach of the Chicago Bears, to the show, who is apparently watching us on YouTube.
Oh, snap.
So coffee and cards about to blow up. We're going viral.
That's awesome.
Go ahead, finish your thought.
Man.
And I love that Jamie threw up the. Jamie, can we real quick before we're distracted? We got the reason Jamie's on. Did we say why Jamie's on?
No, we haven't.
It just felt so comfortable. He was like being on the show the whole time.
I know. It was like when we had Jason on, but he was our very first Patreon member who dedicated his monthly finances to get that awesome coffee mug. Show it again, Jamie. He drinks out of it every single day. Why you would want to look at that while you drink coffee, I have no idea.
Oh, I stare at you guys daily at my desk.
That picture is way better than if it was actually our faces on there. So you made out.
So anyhow, real quick, let me just finish up this thought real quick. But I see a lot of people saying, like, hating on contenders. I'm not arguing with you. I've always said that I've liked Optic more, Phoenix more, Prism more, but contenders always hold. Those rookie tickets always hold high values, and they stay steady. Like where other cards may fall, if you go back historically, contenders always holds value. It's a constant in the hobby, which is why it holds money. But let's get into the next release real quick. Optic. Chris, what's Optic pre-selling for?
$900 a box is speculation right now.
How many autos in that box?
1 auto.
How many points could be in that box instead of an auto?
What are we seeing every other box lately?
I've seen 150 points come out of it. So, but here's the difference in it. And I'm not trying to downplay Optic because it's my favorite product, because the difference is there are like 8 to 13 parallels, give or take. I forget how the hobby's set up. Those parallels can and the way the market has shifted, sell for more than these autos do. So I get why it's $900 a box, but are we going to have the same conversation? We've had the same freaking conversation every product that's come out this year. We've had the same repetitive conversation, yet we continue to get in. Are we dumb enough to think that we're going to get contenders for under $1,200? Or I'm sorry, Select for under $1,200?
Not a chance.
We love Select and we're excited about Select, but are we just going to have the same? Are we the idiots where Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results? Are we going to be the idiots to continue this conversation? Are we going to suck it up and enjoy the hobby? I guess that's kind of where I'm getting at.
So you got to go one way or the other. You can sit and complain about it all day long. The fact of the matter is it's not going to change, right?
No,
so you either learn to adapt with the times, or you've got to scale back in the hobby and maybe look at eBay and buying singles and doing those kind of things. I mean, there's ways you can still enjoy the hobby. But for those that want to continue to buy boxes or that want to get into breaks, you just have to realize price is going to be affected. And the thing that people don't realize, and I didn't realize until, you and I went down this path together, is on the backside, it's very easy as a purchaser to go into a break, to send messages to breakers and be like, more product, we want more breaks, do this, do that, without seeing anything that goes on the backside. I mean, there's, you've got people fighting for allocation, you've got people fighting with distributors for product, you've got the cost for shipping, you've got the cost to just sit on product that you have to front while it sits there, and then you are having to buy quote unquote crappy product in order to get the good stuff that people don't necessarily want to buy into, so that you're sitting on that. I mean, there's so much more that goes into it. It's really become a business, and people just have to kind of take it for that. It's a hobby, but it's also very much a business.
Well, and let me just touch on that a little bit. For example, for me to hopefully get a couple boxes of Optic below the $900 it costs, which I will still buy many at the $900 it costs, just like I did for Playbook, just like I did for Obsidian, just like I've done for Contenders. But then it allows me to average it out, so I'm not selling it to our break group at $750 a box. I can do it for a little cheaper because we did some averaging. I just bought Prism Blasters from my distributor for $80 a piece. I just bought Prism Megas for $175 a piece. I bought Contenders boxes for $660 a piece. And again, it's still a little below blowout, a couple dollars, but we're also pricing breaks below blowout, and that's kind of the whole point there. All that to be said is that it's one of those things where it all correlates, and if we're not going to enjoy it, I think the best thing to do is truly to either get out of it or enjoy it. I remember the reason I got out of the hobby the first time was because I said would rather get out of this hobby than ever spend $8 on a pack of football cards. $8 on a pack of football cards, and it wasn't that I couldn't buy the $2 and $3 packs, but you know what had the $8 packs had? They had the chance at an autograph in like every 8 boxes or 10 boxes, and they were $8 a pack. And I was like, F that. There's no way I'll ever spend $8 on a pack of football cards. Now, granted, I was like 16 years old, but I was like, screw it, I'm done. I'm out of the hobby. What is that price point now? Like, because we've clearly pushed the limits and it hasn't stopped. And I'm not complaining. I still love the hobby, but I do feel for people that are in every break. I can't get in every break. I don't know about you guys.
So here's what it's like a lot of times. Like if you look at the lottery, right? You've got people that buy the lottery every day of their life, no matter what. They're buying a lottery ticket just for the chance to win. Then you've got a population of people that when it gets to 200 million, then I'll buy a ticket. If it gets to 500 million, then I'll buy a ticket. You've got product like Contenders. What everybody's speculating, and the reason why prices can be what they are and Panini can charge what they want to charge, is you have a Patrick Mahomes PSA 10 Contenders autograph rookie card that just sold for $90,000.
And that was when product was $120 a box.
So people are speculating, is it going to be Josh Allen? Is it going to be Kyler Murray? Is it going to be Justin Herbert? Who is that next guy that I can get in one of these breaks, I can hit in one of these boxes, send it off, grade it, sit on it, and make $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000?
I mean, I want to go back to someone's comment right here. Panini is leaning on the grading craze, and we're seeing that. And that's why retail has become so popular, because you can buy Mosaic retail, you can buy Prism retail, you're going to be able to buy Optic retail, and some of those cards for $20 blasters. And that's why I'm paying $80 for Prism blasters, because you can still get a silver, or you can still get a parallel and that an orange laser or a whatever. If graded a 10 and that player takes off, and even an $80 blaster, you could have a $3,000 card in there.
Yeah. I mean, if you just got to get used to it, it's not going to change. I mean, we can bitch and complain. You know what? Panini could care less, because if we drop out, there's going to be somebody right behind us that's going to jump in. So to them, it's nothing off their back. You just got to learn to adapt and be smart with the money that you have. Mike and I say it all the time. Don't spend money that you don't have chasing the dream. It's not worth it. You're just going to end up disappointed. And, if you can't do it the way you want to do it, buying a box or doing those things, then find a different way to go about it. You can still have fun in the hobby. One thing we were talking about too is, the fact that retailers like Target and Walmart are finally starting on the trend of locking stuff behind glass and only allowing 2 per customer. Maybe that'll give more people an opportunity to purchase some retail products. We'll see.
Yeah, it's funny, real quick, you say about adapting the hobby. And I think, there is a point where you can't adapt any further, but I still think we're in the market where you can adapt. But I heard an awesome story one time about adapting. I got to kind of go off track and share this. And it was a friend of mine whose father owned a business, and they were in the business of washing glass bottles. They would collect glass bottles. This is way back in the day. They would pick them up at people's houses, take them in, and they had machines that would clean the glass bottles out, and they would then return them for filling or whatever. And then one day, the dad walked into the office at the company and threw a plastic soda bottle against the wall and said, "Our business is over." You know, it was the first plastic soda bottle. And they said, we'll never, ever be able to have this business for long term. Well, they turned their cleaning machines into medical cleaning machine that do pills, that clean like pill capsules and stuff. So the idea there is that, guys, there's always an opportunity to adapt, no matter how crazy it seems, no matter when you think the hobby's going too far. There's definitely a way to adapt and change it. Cards have been around for a long time, and we still look back at the wax era now and say, oh, it's the new wax era. Well, guess what? We recovered from the wax era and look at it now. Even if this is the new wax era, guess what? There's probably going to be a time down the road, whether it's digital cards or whatever. Maybe that's the way you go. Maybe you start collecting digital cards now, you know, these blockchains. I agree with you, Jamie. I think the digital cards are ridiculous. But I'm just saying the idea is think outside the box, try new things, either adapt and enjoy it, or if you're not enjoying it, don't hate it and do it. Don't ever do something that you absolutely despise, because if the fun's not in it, then why spend money on it?
So as ridiculous as that sounds, though, Mike, like Scott made this point right here, where's the market going to be when kids won't have the experience of collecting? There's some, but very few. To your point, adaptation is going to occur, right? So when we grow up collecting, it was way different than collecting is now. It's going to be way different in 20 years. And we laugh at the digital cards right now, but technology is the way of the future. I would not be surprised if your kids or your grandkids have their entire collection on their phone. They can walk up to someone else's phone, tap it, trade a card back and forth, and that's how it ends up being. At some point, it might be that.
Our grandparents actually kept these stupid things in boxes. Can you believe it? These dumb motherfuckers, they had them in boxes collecting dust. Look at it. We can just flip through and see them. We're the dummies, you know, in the long of that story. But, you know, we got to enjoy the moment while it's here. So the point is, if you're not enjoying it, don't do it. Enjoy it or don't. I'm tired. I get into it. I get into it too, where it's frustrating for me, especially for prices, when I have to price things out bare bones to sell a break so that we can enjoy breaking. Because that's my favorite thing, is hanging out with you guys. It always has been. You know, we do the fantasy matchups, we do the, you know, anything we can, DraftKings, we do contests, we do all this kind of stuff. I get with you guys, and I offered a tattoo effing Justin Bieber on my body just to enjoy this group. If you are not enjoying that aspect, and you are allowed to be frustrated at times, but if you're not enjoying it every single day, get out. No one's holding you hostage here. And I would be sad to see anyone go, but I would rather see someone go and be happy doing something else than be miserable every day spending money on a hobby they're no longer enjoying. And I think I had to get that off my chest, because it breaks my heart to see people miserable doing it. And because I think negativity becomes a poison in the hobby.
Yeah, to go off that, I've talked to a couple of buddies of mine who are Steelers fans, and we buy into your breaks and other breaks, and it's just, you go through and spend, you know, your $400 or $500 deep into 5 different breaks, you get maybe one card. It gets frustrating, and it's just, and he jumped out for a little bit and started just buying personal cards online just to, you know, keep collecting, but not sometimes it gets frustrating when you get in a nice cold drought and the price is going up. It makes it even more painful. I mean, like when I started, I was getting into randoms, you know, $30. We were having 6 boxes. Now $30 randoms, 3 boxes. It adds up quickly.
There's a very, very wise man who once said, you got to know when to hold them, you got to know when to fold them, and you got to know when to walk away. So
you gotta know when to hold them.
There's people that are literally, to your point, Jamie, like they'll buy into something, they'll buy a box, they'll buy into a break, they'll skunk. Oh, I got to get into another one to make up for it. Oh, I got to get into another one. And then you're 5 breaks or boxes in and you've got nothing to show for it.
Degenerates.
Take a break, walk away. Don't sacrifice putting food on your table or paying your heat and electric bill to try to hit that card that's worth $20,000, because your chances of doing it are like hitting the lottery.
I've literally messaged people that have gotten into breaks, and they messaged me, oh, this was my first break. That was so much fun. And I see how hard they go at first. And I've literally messaged guys and said, hey, man, I know this is exciting, but keep track of what you're spending. I don't want you to get to the end of the month and see your bill or whatever, a credit card bill or whatever however you're paying, and not be able to take care of your family, yourself, or your other, because that's the last thing I want to see as a breaker, is where having fun gets in the way of you living life. You know, so like to your point, you're absolutely right. Can we touch real quick on some of these comments? This is funny. Whenever I see flippers have their cards in carts at Target, like selling for $80 a piece ship, it's like, dude, go pay for those cards. At least put them in the bags or in your front seat of your car to take pictures of.
So you know what's so bad about that though, Mike, is those people, or a lot of those individuals, I hate to say it, but they're so strapped for cash or you know, money poor, that until they can fill everything they have in their cart, they're not going to go and buy them because they don't want to sit on them.
I understand that, but that's what's wrong with it, when people have that scooped up while other people are waiting, you know, to buy it. So One other thing real quick too, to comment on what we said about the future of cards. Chris said it'll be our card. Chris Folk, we've talked about this before. You know, if before cards decrease in value, does it become, like you said earlier, the stock market where, hey, I'd love to buy into that Luca PSA 10, one of 10 contenders auto. Let's each buy a share for $10,000 or $15,000. And as it goes up, we're seeing that already with big cards like Jordan rookies and stuff. People are buying shares of them. That could be something that people do to adapt. We always think, oh, it's going to collapse. I keep hearing it. It's going to collapse. It's going to collapse. But it hasn't done that for the last 18 months that I've heard people say that. So before you continue to be negative, either, again, adapt, find ways to adapt like that, maybe go in with people.
Yeah, well, and even into breaks, right? Like if you want to go after and chase that cracked ice Herbert, you split the cost of the Chargers with two other people, you hit it, you sell it, and you split the profits.
I think it's been a cool show already, man. It's been cool to talk about this, and as much as it is frustrating to kind of dive into the topic, and I was fearful to be on the negative side of talking about prices and stuff, it's kind of changed my mindset of, instead of being negative, how can I adapt and be more positive to approach it in a different way?
Uh-oh. The silver bullets are flowing over there with Jamie.
No, he is chugging, man. Pour some of that into your coffee mug, dude. Why are you not drinking your beer out of a coffee mug, man? What the heck? There you go. Pour it up.
All right, so the next thing is going to be the Coffee and Cards beer steins.
Yes, I want one. I'll spend another 3-month subscription for it.
For those of you who haven't gotten on the train yet, Patreon, come support us.
Do it. It's worth your money.
You'll get entertainment like this ongoing.
They're not all as crazy as Hitman.
No, probably not.
Oh boy. So good stuff, man. I mean, that's what I like. Anybody out there that's listening while we've got some minutes left, have any questions, any topics, anything you want us to address or get our, expert opinions on? And I say that very loosely. See that Coors Light if you're watching, sponsorship.
Yes.
Brews and covers.
I am terrified to do that. It's why I haven't done it yet. I have heard way too many horror stories. If you did it and it worked out for you, great. But I keep hearing these horror stories of, I sent it in and I got it back, and I know it wasn't like this card, but it came back and it was a PSA 6. Again, that can go both ways. But if you can't take care of it yourself, don't send it into grading. It's not that much work.
You got to find somebody that you trust wholeheartedly, and there's few and far between out there.
I haven't graded any cards. I'm just trying to get into it. I have a whole pile to grade. I finally sent off some cards to Nick D today to grade for me, just because I just, new to the process, trying to learn it and get my feet wet. So there's always someone out there you can trust to send off some cards to grade.
So, Mike, this is something that we have been talking about forever.
You jumped me real quick, but go ahead and do that. You go ahead and talk about that. Then I want to get to the comment that's inevitably Josh Calkins. This one right here, or I'm sorry, where is this one right here? When is Mosaic going to be more appreciated? But go ahead and talk about this. But I want to talk about that for real. I have some news I heard about that. But go ahead and talk about these packs.
That's funny. So for those that have been a part of the sales page, you've seen that Mike has graciously afforded me the opportunity as an admin to do some mystery packs. And they've been good. The people that get into them are top-notch people. I appreciate all the support. And the packs have been, I think, rather good. But we're looking to take it to the next step. We're going to start working on some blazing packs. And these are not going to be just a straight repack product where you come in and buy one for $100. We're going to have a little bit of that, but the intent is to have some of these that we can put into the breaks, scatter throughout, just kind of added value into the breaks that you guys have and opportunities to get some really nice cards. So be on the lookout for that. It's going to be exciting. We just have to work on the details about how we're going to finalize that. So Mosaic, huh? Josh, what's your big thing with Mosaic? Type in, I'm interested to hear why you love Mosaic so much.
Yeah, am I good to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Well, he types, actually, I have heard, and it may have been from Josh, but my understanding is they're looking to make Mosaic, instead of it being that massive, like, optic kind of produced product, making it more of a premium product, or I don't know if it's a variation of it, where they do like an immaculate Mosaic, where it's like a couple we've talked about this before, how they do optic premium as like the first off the line. So they would do Mosaic, but it would be a premier product as opposed to a mass-produced product. Would you rather have Mosaic the way it is, kind of like another off Prism, or would you rather have it be like 6 cards per box? Mosaic is a featured immaculate style product.
We already have Mosaic Choice, right? Isn't that only?
Yes, but it's just a variation. It's kind of like that T-Mall kind of style where it's just like another variant of it. If it was just Mosaic high-end premium, or we could have Mosaic as it's like extended out with all the retail and all that. What would you rather have?
I like high-end premium. That's why I like Select versus Prism, and I think Select is going to surpass Prism at some point because it's not offered in a retail variety. Select is Select. You get one chance to get it. That's through the hobby, and that's the only way to get it.
But has it, according to what we're going to see in pre-sale, hasn't Select already passed Prism if it comes out at $1,500 a box?
From that perspective, on the resale side of it, I don't know that for example, I'm not sure that a Luka Doncic Silver Prism PSA 10 is still going to be a higher value than a courtside, Prism Select PSA 10. Football still the same. I don't know. I haven't seen a Select that has surpassed $90,000 for a Patrick Mahomes yet. But that's Contenders. That's not even Prism. Prism Silver PSA 10s for Mahomes are around 10 to 15 grand right now.
But they're in abundance as opposed to where you have like a set number of autos or stuff like that. So it's about availability as well.
We do have a question. Shane wrote in on here on the redemptions. Does it matter how you acquire them, as in Hobby Shop or Break? No, it doesn't. But that's a great question that I don't know the answer to. Do either of you guys know why Panini is asking you to specify whether you got it in a break or a shop?
I think it's just so they know where they're selling stuff and where the market's at. I usually typically just say I got it at the LCS.
So if you guys didn't hear that, Panini came out obviously recently and once again restanced their take on the expired redemptions and put their foot down and said, okay, we're no longer doing anything for expired redemptions. And then most recently, in the last 2 products between Playbook and Contenders, they have a revamped look on the redemptions. I think what they're doing there is completely retooling their entire platform. So I don't know if that means it's going to matter where if it came from Breakers or whatever, but I think they drew a hard line saying that expired redemptions from this point on are no longer going to be good. We're putting a new look on them. We're restarting the whole thing because I think there's a lot of lawsuits out there with those. I think they're trying to put a stark divide. That's why we all had to sign. If you logged on the Panini's website, we all had to agree to a new terms and contracts kind of thing, like the Apple thing. It was that long if you didn't look. And I think they're retooling it, and they're going to say, all right, this is all part of the old lawsuits. We're going to do away with it. This is a part of our new platform. Let's do it this way. So I think you're going to see a hard line on redemptions from that new look on the redemptions from the old ones. I don't know what that means, but that's my take on why they change the look of redemptions.
Nice. Another question from smartass Scott Ripley. When's the coupon book coming out? 10% off the next break.
Well, it comes with your AARP, Scott. You had to check that.
He's only a few years away from that.
Nice. Anything else you guys have questions about? In the meantime, I'm going to just share. If you guys haven't seen the On the Horizon packs yet that are out there, had the opportunity to get my hands on this beautiful Lamar Jackson 3 of 10 gold. So shout out to John Sison for trading me that. I actually traded my Obsidian Color Blast Mahomes for it. So good deal for both of us. He's going to probably flip that and make a few dollars, and I've got a nice little Lamar to add to the collection.
My God.
Yeah, I wish I would have waited and bought those packs instead of my XR purple pack. I mean, I got out of 25 love, but other than that, I felt like it was a waste of points.
You got to figure the checklist among all sports is only 50 players that's soccer, hockey, basketball, baseball, football. So they're going to be limited. Even the base variations are limited print runs, but then you get the numbered gold to 10 and then the green 101s. They're going to be high dollar.
So there are numbered ones in it then too?
Yeah, there's green 101s.
And that's it, just 101s and base.
101s to 10s and base. So
Okay.
three variations. The base are silver, to 10 is gold, and 101s are green. But I mean, and that just shows you too, like these other markets that are out there and the popularity of sports. Like for soccer, if you get the Cristiano Ronaldo 101, I mean that thing is selling for tens of thousands of dollars.
All right, guys. Well, as much as I'd love to stay on and talk, this has been one of my favorite episodes we've ever done. Chris, Jamie, thank you so much for coming on. They're waiting for me to random up our last 3-box break. We did one today, so I had to run it back because we pulled that Joe Burrow RPS and a 101 Jordan Love out of playbook. So I have to crack a new case of playbook just to do this break. So maybe we have a chance at the vault. So we'll see. I'm anxious.
Thanks, guys. It's been an honor and a pleasure. Love everything
man.
you do.
Yeah, there it is.
Look forward to having you on a lot more. And for anybody else out there that's interested in coming on, first you got to go on Patreon and support. No, I'm just kidding. Just shoot us a message. Let us know. We'd love to have you guys on there.
Or hey, yo, Packers fan, I'm calling you out. Get after it.
We can go live with that too. You know what we're going to do? This is going to go over the top. If anybody wants to go tattoo for tattoo with Mike, we will video a show live from the tattoo parlor as it's happening.
If anyone goes tattoo for tattoo and you end up getting the tattoo, I will cover the price of the tattoo and break credit as well. So
wow.
So not only do you have to, I'll take care of you that way. So you at least get to get in some breaks for your frustration.
Nice. Well, thanks, guys. As always, we appreciate it. We will be back on next week. Next week will be a down week for the NFL, so we'll focus a lot more on the card conversations and things like that. So thanks again. Talk to you guys soon. Take care.
Awesome episode, guys. Thank you.